Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and today I noticed Prydwen had finally updated their tier list. Now I thought I'd just take a quick look at it and give my thoughts on just the movements and stuff. I don't want to do a whole overview like I've done on it in the past. So we're only going to really look at the movements and new characters, whether I agree or disagree. Now there really isn't much change to Global because it's just Klukai getting added, but CN finally did add Yoohee as well as Nikketa to it, so we'll take a quick look at that. And then maybe some other couple characters like Lena. Lena's a big one I kind of want to see where they're at. I know Lena, for example, is definitely going to change just based on Leva coming out. But yeah, let's just take a quick look. And just remember a disclaimer of these tier lists, like they even have it on theirs as well. To me, the tier lists are not completely accurate on a lot of these characters, and one of the big reasons is synergies. Just because a character by themselves isn't good doesn't mean they're not really good overall for a whole team. And the other big thing is these tier lists are not taking into consideration future value they can have. And that's one big thing when I come looking at a character, I'm looking at their future value more so than their current value, because somebody that is tier 0, like you'll see up here, what is their how easy is it going to be for them to be replaced by someone else just can just do their job better potentially, or like your mainstay DPSs versus say a support like Suomi, who she's going to fall off a little bit because she's mostly sustain unless we get content that really needs heavy sustain. Just know that that is not really taken into consideration here. It's kind of what their current value is in the current meta in terms of their capability in both general content and bossing content. And so with that, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at these, and then I'll give my thoughts and everything. So the first thing we have, I mean, this one's easy decision. I completely agree with that. Klukai is the #1 general unit to have, even at V0. They don't mention V6, V3, or V6 within this tier list, which makes sense. They only really mention it on kind of bossing for very specific units, and we'll talk about those here in a second. But Klukai, yeah, she is the best on the general content because most of the general content is AoE. And her damage, if built correctly with the right gear, she should be able to generally one-shot a lot of the smaller enemies, letting her do double ultimates as well. That makes it much easier to clear the field with her. And she can fit into any team. She can do her job right off the bat in any team. And with that, she definitely is tier 0 on general content. I think that's the only change they have on global. I don't think they had any movements of the characters on this update. And it makes sense because we haven't actually had the update with anything else relating into it to see any movement as they test it out. I mean, there's really not much else to test other than just throwing Klukai in your teams. And so with that, with global, we'll have Klukai where they put her in the bossing side of things. And they have her down at tier 2, which makes sense. Now, one big thing is you can see on the units here when it comes to building your teams for, say, platoon battles, you have, you can only have 5 team members. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you technically wanted to use only the top tier units, you're having to dig into your tier 1s to even build your teams in the first place. Unless you consider the borrowed unit, because then you can kind of use someone. You can use a V6 Macchiato, for example, as a borrowed unit every single time if you don't have her, or something like that. So, but if you do 3 hits like my platoon does, you're definitely having to dig into even your tier 2 units at this case point. So even someone like Klukai at this point in time can still be useful for boss battles if you're needing the 3 teams. It's not very likely, but she is going to be a good one to throw in there. I will say you can just straight up borrow a V6 though when it comes to that content. And if you're just don't have a platoon that has a V6, there's probably gonna have someone that's V3. If you're not in that, then your platoon's not trying to push very hard anyway, and then you're just doing the 3 hits to get the experience for the platoon. But it does make sense. At V0, she's not good for bossing, but go ahead and just borrow that V6 and throw them into your other teams here. But yeah, that makes sense for that. The big ones, though, I wanted to look at, I mean, Klukai's here makes sense overall, is the general on the CN side with the 2 new units, Nikketa getting added and Yoohee. And looking at it, Nikketa absolutely makes sense. And Nikketa is going to be a great unit to pull. She comes right out the bat, V0. She comes out swinging. Now, she does have a pretty broken V6 as well if you really wanted to hyper invest into Hydro. I mean, Hydro is just really looking good on here. And that is because, I mean, she pairs with Tololo and Springfield super well in getting that buff to take advantage of the extra Confectance Index. So, definitely makes sense on general content. She is more of a single target type damage dealer, which brings her down here. I mean, you have someone like Jeonju up here who, yeah, she's really good at single target, but she can do multiple attacks in a turn, especially alongside Vector. So even though it's single target, as she kills enemies, you can focus fire other ones. It's not as much with Nikketa in that capacity, which I'm guessing is why she's down here. I mean, you have Sharkry definitely moving up, although Sharkry, I have to see her. I haven't watched gameplay with her new expansion key too heavily, but just knowing that her expansion key makes it where she does burn damage, and now she can do more support actions with Vector. I mean, I'd put her, basically, she's a mini Jeonju at this point. You just put her right behind Jeonju at tier 0 there. But I guess they're putting her behind Chunhua and Nikketa here on tier 0.5. Which, I mean, that's pretty fine. I mean, Sharkry is the absolute best SR unit in this game, though, bar none. And it makes sense that she is where she is here. I mean, you have... And then the next one, and this is one where my whole point about future value is not taken into consideration in these tier lists at all, and that is going to be Yoohee. They put her, to me, way too low on this at tier 2. Yes, her biggest problem right now is she does not have her like mainstay primary DPS. I mean, she does bring she gives a lot of value to Dayan, but she's not like your big heavy hitting DPS in my opinion. She can do a lot of damage, but she's more of your mobile doing damage person versus your really hard-hitting mainstay damage dealer that you're going to want for your team, which they have stated will be coming. They have another physical unit that I remember from one of the devlogs, and that is going to bring her value way up. And because of that, and because she support, she's going to be a unit that I'm going to say, everybody that, if you even want anything to do with physical, she's going to be a very much you want to pull. And it's kind of the same reason I'm saying Lena shouldn't be down here either, because Lena's got a lot of future value because she has a lot of great stuff in her kit, and she is going to absolutely work perfectly with Leva coming up. I know Prydwen, as soon as Leva comes out, it's going to move Lena up significantly because she's just going to work right alongside Leva. And she's got her, if I'm not mistaken, her expansion key coming out, which also will bring her value up. But even without that, at this point, they have so much future value built into their kit, in my opinion, that I'd actually at least put them in tier 1. So definitely a disagreement on her. And that's pretty much, yeah, there's really no other movements on here that they have. I mean, because this is taking into consideration V0. Like some of the units, like Faye's now gone up in a lot of value to me because of Yoohee. But Faye is somebody that, if you want to invest in physical, being a standard unit, you can target her on the standard banner and slowly build up her dupes, because Faye does get a lot better as you get dupes. And she's actually who I'm currently saving all my standard pulls for when she comes out, especially knowing that Yoohee is coming out. I fully expect, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I fully expect us to also get Faye when Yoohee comes out. And it may, to me, my opinion, I think Yuhi's going to be the half anniversary of those 3 units, because the last one is going to land right on the first half of the half anniversary. And it makes sense to do Yoohee, have her event, and then Faye was a free unit that CN got as part of an event, so they could give her to free, add her into the standard banner, and it works really well as the half anniversary, versus I believe she was an anniversary character for CN. But without Faye, Yoohee is definitely going to be lower value in terms of a tier list in global, because we really don't have much on the physical side yet other than Dayan. So fully expect her to come out though, and she is the one to save up for in the standard banner, unless you're still trying to get your V3 QJ and V2 Tololo. And then for bossing, let's see. Yeah, Nikketa, yeah, right at the top. She's really good at the single target damage. Makes absolute sense that she's there. Sharkry moving right back up to tier 0.5. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, she's just the same place as Jeonju is and has been. Dayan moving up. Yeah, they have Yoohee still at the same place. I mean, because they're good. Like, the physical team is generically, to me, good at doing both content. And I'm hoping that the next physical unit that they have coming out is generically good at both. Because I really like the style of the physical team. They just need that main damage dealer within their team. But yeah, I mean, I just disagree. Yoohee, at least tier 1 on Yoohee. But I can see where they're coming from at this current point. But yeah, I'll definitely be telling people to pull for her when she comes out, unless you don't care about physical at all. I mean, that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. They moved Pari down. I mean, it makes sense. One of the big problems that happened for Pari on this last one is Sharkly got her expansion key. Originally, I was saying, well, Sharkly's kind of lower in Pari. They're kind of the same in terms of the team and which one you want to bring, depending on the content, because... But now with Sharkly being able to do those extra support actions and massive increase to damage, it really hurts Pari because you already got a full burn team with that group. You have Changju, which is 1. Sharkly's your 2nd. You have Vector, who's your 3rd. You have Shahua, who's your 4th. And then Cinerisi is your 5th. And so unless you have content that requires 6 units, Pari kind of falls down in turns. I mean, you already have a full burn team. And until Pari gets an expansion key that can make her elevated up to fit into the team and maybe knock Sharkly or someone off, which is going to be very hard, her value has gone way down. And one of the big things with Burn Team is I have to relook at her kit. I think she could potentially fit in other teams, but she really was kind of, what I seen in her kit is being able to go multiple times, which was really good for triggering Changju's support actions. But that's not needed with the current team now and the way you can set them up. So that one makes sense that she fell down. I'd still put Yoohee above them, though. But that looks to be pretty much it. There's really no other shifts here. I mean, this one does take into consideration dupes to a certain extent. You have Macchiato that you want to take into consideration her V1, Springfield's V1, Vector's V1. I think those are the main ones. It doesn't take into consideration anyone else's, I think, dupes here. Which, I mean, when it comes to standard units at this point in CN, I would start wanting to see this tier list evolve more, taking into consideration dupes on standard units, especially since you can target them. And there are specific good breakpoints on units. Like, they have Mosin Nagant all the way down here at tier T3, which she does. At V0, Mosin Nagant at this point in CN is terrible. But if you get her to V4 and V6, especially now with Leva coming out, her value goes way up. And she's getting her expansion key, so we'll have to see how that improves her. But, I mean, if you really like Mosin Nagant, you can start targeting her right now and push her to V4 and then V6. And she is really good on the electric side once you get to that point. But there's nothing indicating you should do that because these tier lists are bad for that kind of direction to give you. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to go through every single character there, but I kind of, like I said, I disagree a lot with Yoohee's because I see so much future potential, but they don't really take that into consideration or the synergies on this. This is just kind of the character as a standalone to a certain extent, other than certain characters like Springfield and Tololo, where they specifically mention their dupes here, but that's because it's just so broken. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's just my thoughts. I wanted to go over it real quick since I seen it get updated. Don't let this don't let these tier lists make you decide on who to get. Get your favorite characters in this game, regardless of where you see them on a tier list here. They all can do the content quite well, and unless you're in a whale platoon, then it doesn't matter. The platoon gets the same XP regardless, as long as you do your hits on the boss. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.